again, talking about protection of a sealing membrane of a fire-resistant rated floor sealing or roof sealing assembly, not a through penetration sealing membrane of a rated floor sealing or roof sealing assembly, and we are limiting the passage of heat transfer. There we go, nice red arrows there. Showed that slide earlier. We're talking about UL 555C now for sealing dampers. Also talking about UL 263. So that's kind of the test standard for the floor sealing and roof sealing assemblies themselves. So we do start touching on that test standard as well. But ultimately, the important thing with a sealing damper is to try to know what the sealing design number is associated with that construction, and that will dictate what type of damper we can use here. So if we see a sealing design like this that does not show a sealing damper in it, then we cannot use a sealing damper in that design. So that's pretty cut and dry. So again, very important to know what your UL design number is. Look that design number up. It'll give you a drawing. It'll give you a listing of what's allowed in that design. You look up something like this, we just see gypsum, we just see truss. We don't see an opening, right? So no dampers allowed if you don't see it in the design. Type application 1 here. If you see a design like this, we scroll down, we look at number 9, we see damper. Oh, we got a damper listed in here. That means we can put a damper in this type of construction. If we read a little more, there's nothing too specific about that damper, right? It's basically just describing a hinged door style damper, something that's held open that's going to close when the heat increases. So if you see something like this where there's a generic description of a damper, any UL 555C classified product may be used in this type of a design. So this is kind of your free-for-all. If you're qualified to UL 555C, you can put your damper in these types of designs that just have a generic description of a damper in it. Then we get into the more complicated ones, like the wood construction, right? So wood truss, wood joist. So designs like these are tested individually. Generally, they will list specific manufacturer and model of damper. And so if you have a design like this, you are limited to exactly what is listed in that design. Yes, specific damper must be listed in that design. However, there's nothing stopping another manufacturer from conducting essentially the same test on the same construction, just using their own damper, and now having their own design number. But now it's just so confusing, right? Because someone specs, say, design L521. That's certainly a very common one. Greenheck's version is M508, but a lot of people don't know that, and they don't know that they could possibly use alternate sealing damper manufacturers with the same construction and the same intent of the design because of this, this UL directory and how this thing's laid out. So that is the main point I wanted to touch on with sealing dampers. And just to be aware of the design numbers and things like that, and make sure that you're not unintentionally limiting yourself to the damper listed in that design, and see if there's other designs out there that you may be able to use to compare. So this is a good reference slide here if you're into that kind of thing, wood truss type of design, sealing damper designs here.